every single day, it feels like we're just wading through this massive flood of information, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's overwhelming.
Yeah, and whether you're, say, in a really high-stakes meeting or just trying to get your head around something complex for work or even just, listening to a friend, there's that moment.
I know the one.
You think you've got the main idea, but you have this nagging feeling you missed a key detail. It's frustrating. Happens all the time.
It really does. And it's more than just a feeling. It's a genuine cognitive thing.
Yeah.
Our brains are constantly filtering, deciding what to keep, what to ignore.
Right.
And in that process, some surprisingly common kind of subtle listening traps can just make those important bits vanish.
Exactly. So today, that's our mission for you listening. Let's sharpen those skills, not just catching details, but figuring out why they slip away sometimes. We're going deep, identifying and sidestepping these common information traps, and we're drawing on insights from a really experienced coach, someone who's seen exactly where people, well, stumble.
And these insights, they often come from high-pressure situations, like the IELTS listening test.
Right, the International English Language Testing System. That exam's known for really drilling down on listening comprehension.
It is. But these aren't just tricks for a test. Think of IELTS like a magnifying glass.
Okay.
It just amplifies the everyday listening challenges we all face. Under that pressure, our usual, cognitive biases, our limits, they just get bigger.
So the idea here is to give you a quick, clear grasp of these traps.
Precisely. And the mechanics behind them, the why they catch us out. It's definitely about more than scores. It's about really improving how you absorb spoken info. Accurately, efficiently.
And maybe with less stress.
Hopefully, yes. Less mental strain in any situation.
I think this is fascinating because it's not just what to do, but understanding the why, why our brains play these tricks.
Yeah.
That understanding makes the strategies stick, I think.
It makes them more applicable, definitely.
So let's peel back the layers, uncover these really valuable insights.
Let's do it.
Okay, first up, this feels like a really foundational one. It's the tendency to focus only on what's happening right now.
The immediate information.
Yeah. You're zeroed in on, say, question 1, and then boom, the audio's moved on, and you've completely missed the context for question 2. What's going on there? Why is just looking at the first question such a pitfall?
Well, what you're bumping up against there is partly a working memory limit.
Okay.
And it's combined with something psychologists call attentional tunneling. Our brains can only juggle so much information at once, right?
Right.
So when we concentrate really hard on the immediate thing, finding that first answer, we often sort of tunnel our attention. We become less open to new stuff coming in.
And recordings, conversations, they don't wait for you.
Exactly. They move quickly. They don't pause while you catch up.
Yeah.
So if you're not mentally preparing for what's next, you're constantly playing catch up.
So the advice is?
The crucial advice is, you must always keep an eye on the next, say, 2 or 3 questions while you're listening.
So it's not really multitasking in the traditional sense. It's more like active anticipation.
That's a great way to put it. Active anticipation. Like a chess player, maybe. Thinking a few moves ahead, not just reacting.
Yeah, I like that. So glancing ahead gives your brain a bit of a head start.
Precisely. You're essentially priming your brain. You're telling it, okay, listen out for these keywords, or expect these concepts, or the topic might shift in this direction.
Right.
It helps your auditory system filter the noise for what's relevant and then put it in context as it arrives. You shift from being reactive to proactive.
And that applies way beyond tests, surely.
Oh, definitely. In a presentation, if you've quickly skimmed the agenda beforehand, you're much better set for the next slide, even while focusing on the current one.
You see the bigger picture. Avoid getting lost.
And you retain more, significantly more.
That makes total sense. A great framework for proactive listening. But, okay, sometimes it's not the big picture we miss, is it? It's the tiny, tiny details.
The small stuff.
Yeah. Our coach flags things like spelling errors. Seemingly small, but with potentially big consequences. Now, my first thought is, come on, if I know the answer, does a little typo really matter? But how much does writing, say, February instead of February, actually impact things? In a formal setting, like that test, or even just clear communication?
Okay, this touches on something really important. Precision. Information integrity.
Right.
In any formal context, and definitely in a high-stakes assessment, the answer is a clear yes, it absolutely matters.
Really? Even if the concept is right?
Yes. Even if the core idea is there, a wrong spelling marks the answer as incorrect. February instead of February. That's a point lost. It's not just about your intention, it's about what you actually put down, what you convey.
Okay, so it's not just knowing it in your head, it's showing you can reproduce it accurately.
Exactly. Which you could argue reflects a deeper level of processing.
It makes me think of like a single wrong digit in a bank account number.
Precisely. Or a misspelled term in a legal document. Tiny error, huge consequences.
So precision in detail often mirrors precision in understanding overall.
I think so, yes. And it shows a commitment to accuracy. That's vital everywhere. Cognitively speaking, when you hear a word, your brain needs to match it to the right internal sound pattern, the phonological representation, and the right written form, the orthographic one.
Uh-huh.
If those internal representations are a bit fuzzy or just plain wrong, that inaccuracy pops out when you try to write it down.
So the practical advice is
Actively practice spelling, especially common words, names, places, the things that often trip people up. It's about building strong, accurate connections in your brain. Your internal dictionary needs the correct spelling ready to go.
that's a really strong case for being meticulous. It's more than just be careful.
It is.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. Sometimes we think more information is better, right? But our coach points out this counterintuitive mistake, giving too much information.
Ah, yes, the word limit issue.
Exactly. So if someone wants to be thorough, wants to show they understood everything, but they kind of overshoot the mark, what's the danger there?
Well, this is a classic case of not following clear instructions, and it can be surprisingly costly. It touches on things like cognitive load and the value of being concise.
How so?
The rule is usually crystal clear. If the question says no more than 2 words and you write 3, your answer is wrong. Simple as that.
Wow. Even if the right 2 words are in there.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The instruction was violated. It's a simple rule, but honestly, a very common and costly mistake.
That feels harsh, but I guess it forces you to distill things, to get to the absolute core.
Exactly that. It teaches a fundamental communication skill. Stick to the parameters, be concise. In the real world, think about an email, one that's short and to the point, gets read and acted on.
Yeah, the rambling ones get archived.
Right. Or a project brief needs to be clear and actionable, not buried in extra fluff. It's about respecting the other person's time and, frankly, their cognitive capacity.
So always check the word limit isn't just a test trick.
Not at all. It's a disciplined communication habit.
Yeah.
It forces clarity, prevents information overload, saves time, cuts down on misunderstanding. It makes you find the most impactful essence of your answer. That's a valuable skill anywhere.
A great lesson in efficiency. Okay, let's talk about something that feels slippery.
Yeah.
Those sonic snares, numbers, and dates.
Ah, yes. Auditory discrimination challenges.
It's not about misunderstanding a concept here. It's like your ears are actually playing tricks on you because things sound so similar.
Indeed.
Yeah.
This is where our brain's phonological loop, that's the bit of working memory dealing with sound, can get easily confused. Numbers are notorious for this.
Like?
Well, the classic is 50 versus 15. That slight difference in the vowel, the stress, it's easy to miss, especially if someone's speaking fast or there's noise or an accent you're not used to.
Oh, yeah, I've done that.
And another one test makers love, but it happens all the time in real life too, is dates like 19th versus 90th.
Ooh, that's subtle.
Very subtle. It requires really sharp auditory discrimination, that fine phonetic distinction.
I can totally relate. I'm sure I've confirmed appointments for 3:30 when they actually said 13:30 military time. You only realize when you're way too early or late.
Happens all the time.
So besides just listen harder, what can we actually do? How do you train your ear for those tiny differences?
The key is targeted, active practice. You need to build what's called auditory acuity.
Okay.
The recommendation is specifically listen to recordings of numerical data. Things like phone numbers, prices, addresses, list of dates.
And not just have it playing in the background?
No, definitely not passive. It's active discrimination.
Yeah.
You force your auditory system to really focus on identifying and telling apart those subtle sound cues that distinguish 30 from 13 or 19 from 90th.
So you're strengthening those specific neural pathways.
Exactly. For number recognition. And think about the real-world mishearing numbers can mess up finances, travel plans,
Yeah.
appointments.
Yeah, critical stuff.
Developing that acuity means you capture precise data. That's fundamental for accurate understanding and making good decisions.
That's incredibly practical, something we can all start doing. Okay, so we've talked about looking ahead, spelling, word limits, tricky numbers. As we bring this all together, thinking about the bigger picture of listening well, what's the single most important overarching strategy? If you had one top tip for navigating all these potential pitfalls in any listening situation, what would it be?
One single tip. If there's one guiding principle that underpins successfully handling all these challenges, it's this. My number one tip is stay calm.
Stay calm.
Yeah.
Okay. It sounds simple.
Deceptively simple, maybe, but its impact on your cognitive function is absolutely profound. Panic is, well, it's arguably the most catastrophic listening blocker there is.
That rings true, doesn't it? When you're under pressure test, important call, difficult conversation, and you suddenly feel, oh no, I missed that. That immediate jolt of anxiety, it can just make things worse.
It spirals. Your brain goes into overdrive, but not in a useful way.
Right.
Exactly. When we panic, our emotional brain, the amygdala, can sort of hijack the prefrontal cortex.
Which is the thinking part.
Right. Responsible for focus, working memory, decision-making, all the stuff you need for listening. The expert we drew from highlighted that panicking can make students lose like 3 or 4 answers in a row.
Wow. Just like that.
Yeah, because your focus shifts. You stop processing what's coming in and start dwelling on the mistake you just made. It creates this downward spiral of missed information.
So the counter advice is crucial.
It is. If you miss one answer, 1 point, don't panic. You have to consciously let it go. Immediately shift your focus to what's coming next. One mistake isn't the end of the test or the conversation or the presentation.
It's just one point in time.
Exactly. An isolated incident, dwelling on it just multiplies the error.
That feels like a life skill, honestly. Resilience, maintaining focus when things go wrong.
It really is. Emotional regulation directly impacting cognitive function.
Knowing you can recover that one slip doesn't mean you're out of the race. That's actually quite liberating, isn't it?
It is. It allows your brain to just recenter and get back to absorbing information effectively instead of getting stuck looping on, oh, I messed up.
A calm mind is an open mind.
That's it. An open, receptive mind. A panicked mind. It's often closed off, just consumed by internal noise. It makes it literally harder to hear and process what's outside.
So learning to just acknowledge the slip, release it, and immediately re-engage, that's maybe the most powerful listening tool.
I'd argue it is, yes. It's the difference between a quick recovery and just spiraling down, missing more, and performing poorly overall.
What an incredibly useful deep dive today. We've really unpacked some critical lessons for mastering listening. We started with that need to look ahead, prime your brain, avoid that attentional tunneling.
Or proactive listening.
Then we got into the nitty-gritty, the precision needed for small details like spelling, recognizing how tiny errors impact comprehension.
And the integrity of the information.
Yeah. And then that counterintuitive danger of too much information.
Yeah.
The value of being concise, sticking to limits.
Respecting cognitive load, both yours and others.
And tackling those sonic snares, numbers and dates, and the need for that active ear training.
Building auditory acuity.
And then tying it all together, the absolute foundation. The power of staying calm.
Yeah. It's not just about feeling better. It's about keeping your brain working optimally so all these other strategies can actually function.
Right. Without calm focus, the best techniques get drowned out by that internal panic.
Exactly. So these really aren't just tips for a test. They're fundamental principles for listening effectively, processing information accurately in any situation where you truly need to hear and understand.
Absolutely. So for you listening, we really encourage you, start applying these ideas. Listen more proactively. Notice the details. Be mindful of conciseness both in what you take in and how you express things. Practice hearing those tricky numbers. And maybe most importantly, if you miss something, take a breath. Don't panic. Just refocus. Give yourself that moment to recover.
And considering how these seemingly small things, a misspelled word, a misheard number, a moment of panic, can derail understanding so easily.
It does make you think, doesn't it? It really does. What other subtle habits, beyond just listening, might be quietly undermining your ability to truly hear and process information in your day-to-day life? And what could happen if you proactively address those habits? How might that revolutionize the way you learn, connect, maybe even make decisions?
That's definitely something to ponder.
Something to think about until our next deep dive.